So we have here a delicious, I believe this is a 2020 Red Bull.
Oh, fine vintage that year.
Yeah, just the original flavor.
Sounds thick.
Looks like piss.
Always does. And what's your second drink?
This one right here is a delicious Polar Original Seltzer. I am going to go ahead and just dilute the original. I'm looking for like a sort of piss color.
It was piss before, and now it's slightly more hydrated piss.
Yeah, you had the water.
Right.
My thought process here was I just wanted to have little at Red Bull, but I wanted the volume of a full.
Can I have a sip of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's all the things you hate about Red Bull, just less of them.
Yeah, it is a little bit less.
Welcome to Haha Yeah.
Welcome to Haha Yeah.
I'm Hyperlink.
I'm Sel.
I have some shit to say this time.
Okay. First of all, welcome back.
Oh yeah, it's been a little bit.
It's been a little bit. I'm doing some personal reckonings.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Tough times.
It is.
Good time of year for reckonings though. They're coming in. Coming in really nice this year.
This is a fine 2020 vintage of personal reckoning.
Oh, this smells like panic.
It smells like piss.
Oh, this is piss, and it seems like some fear.
Yeah.
Here as well.
A lot of pheromone.
Delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
guzzling it. But anyway, what have you have to say?
Well, I just recently started a project.
Yes.
That a lot of you, I'm sure, are familiar with.
Yes.
Which is the Mastodon Community Stimulus Redistribution Crowdfund.
Explain that for folks who don't know what that is.
Absolutely. Basically, my coworker Pellets guy,
we can talk about that later.
Yeah, that's. You don't know that one. There's a whole other situation. My coworker Pellets guy cash apped me $500 to distribute to people who were posting in their crowdfund tag on Mastodon. So I threw in some money, and I remembered that Gob had done a similar redistribution effort. So I DM'd them, and I was like, "What would you do if you did this again?" And they said, "I would start a crowdfund so that when other people chip in, you can watch the number go up together." And literally based on that alone, I was like, "Okay." And then I made a GoFundMe in like an hour, and then I put it up the next day at noon. And then after that was like on a Thursday, and by Monday we had raised like $25,000.
Incredible.
It's up to the total fund amount is about $28,000. So many people pitched in and really helped make it successful. But that weekend when I was getting ready I was writing questions for Haha Yeah. I was reminded of the stuff that you said right at the start of COVID. Mm-hmm. So I kind of have some thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely.
In that vein. So what I wrote was, when I moved into this apartment in September of last year, Sal.
Oh my God, this is beautiful.
You gave me a corkboard. I put one thing on it, the only thing I ever put on it, which was a strip of paper that says, "Make the best thing you can every day." I've made a lot of things since moving here, but the fundraiser is the best thing I've ever made in my life. And really, I am barely responsible for what makes it so amazing. Every community member who helped to spread the word, who signed up to receive funds, who donated what they could, $5 or $500, who offered thirst traps in exchange for stretch goals or vaporwave tracks or thank yous, you are responsible. You have each brought us one meaningful step closer to a kinder, more empathetic, more compassionate world. The ratio of donors to recipients in this is so close to 1-to-1 that it's astounding. For every one person who needed help, just about, somebody else stood up to be the one to offer that help. To me, there's never been more proof that Mastodon is a political movement, and I'm honored to stand among all of you in solidarity. But I also want to challenge all of you just a little further. If this is possible, what else is possible? The window to that new world has just been cracked by our labor and our imagination, and the cool air is rushing in. If this is possible, what else is possible? You don't need to be an expert or have experience. You just need to listen and to care and to work with others to do the best thing you can every day to help somebody else. Some days the best thing you can do is just get out of bed and stay living in a world designed to grind you to dust, and that is enough. Some days you can make art or organize or help other people just trying to stay living until the day comes where all of us are capable of much more than that. No one is going to imagine or build this but us, but none of us are imagining or building alone. For everyone who needs help, there's someone who can offer it. Now is the time to sit in your room and apply yourself. With only the things at our disposal, we can imagine new systems, listen to others and learn from them, make bad art, good art, plant a garden, plant several, build the infrastructure of community aid that will help somebody else, and do whatever we can, even if it's not a lot, especially if it's not a lot, to help others that need our help right now. If this is possible, what else is possible? When we all come together and provide each other with what we can. The window is open. The air is rushing in. Can you imagine what could happen if all of us do the best thing we can every day to help someone? I think it would be pretty cool.
I'm so fucking touched by that, dude. It's amazing. I mean, the most amazing thing, like, beyond, like, you putting in that work is that everybody else stepping up and doing what they can. I mean, it's like, I've never been more proud to be part of this community. And, like, what you say, it being a potentially revolutionary force, I mean, it revolutionized the way people think about how they care for one another and what a community looks like. And I think that it should just be the beginning of the rest of the stuff that you've mentioned that you want to do with it.
Which, so, like, I looked back at that stuff that I wrote, and I added just a little bit more here. I wanted to say that none of these ideas are new ideas. People have been doing community mutual aid for longer and much better than I have for a long time. But Mastodon, as you've just said, I think is the right place at the right time to do something really special that makes the world a better place. None of us have to wait to do it, which is amazing. And there are plenty of people on Mastodon who are doing mutual aid right now. And I just want to highlight one example of someone who I think has been doing a great job. Wolfpeed from Snaps.online started home 3D printing ear savers for face masks. I was telling you about that. Just had a 3D printer lying around and made these little plastic devices that you can hook your mask onto instead of your ears for people who find that uncomfortable or who are wearing them for a long period of time. They've donated some, I believe, to a hospital that was in need of them and then sent others to users who requested them. I just think that's the coolest fucking shit ever.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing. So excited to see what other people do in that similar vein. And if you see someone doing cool stuff on Mastodon that helps other people, I would love to signal boost it. Just everyone in the community banding together right now has been totally the bomb.
Likewise. You know, Mastodon isn't perfect and no community is, but like just the very nature of the people that this platform has attracted and the kind of morals and ethics and beliefs that we try to, like, you know, I don't know, the kind of people who are attracted to this website are attracted to a certain kind of imagination for the world and how it can be. And I think it's just like so apparent that this is just the beginning of like a really exciting movement, and it's just fucking awesome.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like I think when a lot of people talk about Mastodon, they talk about the technical features, which are important, like the decentralization and the federation are useful. But when I think about what really makes Mastodon different, it's all the people who believe in that stuff applying it into their lives.
Absolutely.
The community that's emerged around a different, new, better way of living is totally inspiring, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it.
100%. And it's only, again, like I keep going back to it's just the beginning, but like Mastodon is just a tool, and it's what we decide to make of it. And I think that like now is, as you say, the opportunity to put those beliefs into words. And also, if all you can do right now is just get out of bed and donate $10, or if you need that help, understand that like that is what makes this community, like I want to, you know, I just also want to, it takes all kinds of people to make a community, and it's just super cool to see people doing everything that they can, whatever that might be.
Yeah, and like, it's hard to have needs.
Right.
Like, that is incredibly difficult to be like, yo, I need help. Like, that's fucking challenging. And like, I don't know, seeing people like rise to that challenge and get the help they need is inspiring as well. It's been really awesome to see people who like, at first were like, I don't think that I like am worthy enough to ask for this help, and then be able to get it and just have a less shitty time.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of money the fund gives out, it's like $120-ish a person. It's like not a ton, but like, just
that's it can be a lot.
Well,
it's a lot, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, just it's great that, you know, people who need it are able to get it
in a huge way.
Yeah. So anyway, this is Haha Yeah.
This is Haha Yeah.
The show where we sit in our rooms, imagine some futures, and make what we can with what we have, because that's all we need.
That's true. It's all of that and more.
It's definitely more. There's some other shit going on in this show too.
I think so, anyway.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know what happened. I got into some like religious questions here.
Sick.
I think it's a time for personal reckonings, as we mentioned. So I was just thinking about like new sexy religious movements for the 21st century. So I just figured I would ask you, as a particularly spiritual person and somebody that I feel has a lot of like knowledge of theology, what are the commandments of the Neo-Divine's Hyperconstitution?
Okay, that sounds great. So these are our commandments for the future.
What are the rules?
Rule number 1, what's up?
Always a good rule. So good.
You gotta start with that.
They like, okay, all right, I'm just gonna say, like, as a Jewish person, we started with like, you will not hold another God before me. Stop.
Too intense.
Stop.
Too intense.
I can't abide that.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
Check in.
Yeah.
That's a good rule. I like that a lot.
Everyone likes to make their most intense rule their first one.
Yeah.
Who's ever wanted the first thing someone says to you to be the height of the intensity?
You don't want that.
Nobody wants that.
Ease your way into this new religious movement.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, rule number 1, what's up? Okay, now we've got to know each other a little bit. Rule number 2,
bow at the waist. Bowing is something I think we need to be doing a lot more.
I absolutely agree.
You know what I mean? You can communicate so much with the bow. A little head nod is like, okay. A full like waist all the way, do you see the crown of my head? That's deeply respectful.
That is deeply respectful. I highly recommend that. Although I will say the little head nod that's like, "What's up?"
That's good too.
That's
really good. That's good too.
That's a highly chill thing to do.
Okay, so that way, that's how you greet somebody that you have a lot of respect for, is with the nod. And this is an important religious ceremony, basically. At this point, it's how you comport yourself around the elders of the religion. And the full bow is after you say "What's up."
That's exactly right.
The piece.
What's up? And then you do like a full...
You conk heads together.
Yeah, okay, actually that's the most important part. You do have to conk heads.
At all times.
You're going to develop a strong callus sort of at the top that's going to prevent that from hurting if you do it enough times.
Right.
Okay. So you've established, hello, what's up, I bonked my head. Yeah, so now the conversation is open. I think that another major commandment, stick threads. I mean, like...
You gotta look good.
You gotta keep it looking fresh. And I mean, like, it doesn't have to be expensive, it just has to reflect kind of like a personal style.
Right.
Yeah,
so looking clean is
looking clean. I need to see an oversized tunic. Or maybe like
belt.
Yeah, sure, cinch it. I mean, give it a try. And sub commandment here, sort of like smash that tab button. If one of your fellow religious compatriots is not looking sick, they're trying something out and it doesn't look good, just let them know.
Be honest.
Be respectful. Be like, hey, listen. Not my favorite look ever.
All right, so perhaps it's also, this ties into number one, what's up? You go like, what's up with this look? It's like, part of it's not working for me. And they might like explain themselves like, I'm just trying something like a new color palette.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, oh, okay, that's sick. You're honoring the big guy, the Neo Divine, by doing that. Like, that's sick. The Turbo Divine.
Turbo Divine?
Yeah.
And the Turbo Divine
the Mecha Divine.
is the snail Turbo from the movie Turbo.
May his sticky antenna ever reach into the heavens.
Which ties into rule number 4. Sticky. And that is a really big one, is that we are going to need you to be sticky.
I love the idea of, like, that somebody's, like, a religious devotee if they have, like, webbed sticky hands.
Absolutely.
So they can climb walls.
Yeah, you need to be able to sort of Spider-Man up a wall at any given moment. Just a high volume of stickiness per person is going to be really important. That's going to help with your cool looks. You're going to... All sorts of interesting dimensionalities of clothing are unlocked when it literally sticks to your arms and legs.
Doug, you've heard of the term drip.
Yeah.
That's mucus.
Yeah, that's going to be a thick, gray liquid on your body.
Did we already have a bit about a snail pilgrimage?
We did, but it didn't involve fashion.
That's true. What's interesting to me is just how much we relate the divine with snails.
Well, you also, I think, specifically really enjoy frogs. So I think
that's like a non-binary thing.
Is that really?
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
I've been in the group chat and we've been talking.
Just sending frog clip art back and forth.
Just like I've recently become more acquainted with the TikTok world.
That's true.
Almost like I would say a solid fifth of like content from non-binary creators, like cool froggy earring. I think it's very, very interesting.
Well, I mean, like, what is more chill than a frog?
Not much.
Right. Which is rule number 5. What is more chill than a frog? Not
and
much.
If you answer that question, you get to level up to the next level of the religion. Or you get excommunicated.
Depending on how you answer.
That's right.
You better have a good answer if you're trying to come through.
On your 13th birthday, you have a frog question as you become an adult.
You think you're an adult? What's better than a frog? And then the microphone shoved in their face.
It's dark lights. The whole family.
Oh, Jesus.
It's a big, like, high school gymnasium.
What would you answer?
What's better than a frog? Yeah. Nothing.
That's a strong answer. You just descended.
I started the religion.
Yeah, anything you said would have been right.
Yeah, you know how it goes.
Yeah, no, I can't think of much that's better than a frog.
I think here's a problem here. It seems to me that a lot of what a religion comes down to are like systems of ethics and control. Mm-hmm. And I don't think we're particularly interested in either one of those things.
No, we're more interested in aesthetics. That's why all of our comedians
like pretty pictures.
Being sticky, having good fashion, and agreeing that frogs are nice.
And being chill. You're gonna say what's up?
Saying what's up and conking each other on the floor. All we care about is slapstick physical comedy, cool outfits, and that frogs are nice.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's like a big mass of ideas. Mm-hmm. Less of a religion, more a body of work.
Yeah.
That you can choose to participate in.
This is sort of a Google Drive folder, more than a theology. So I'm kind of a religion, more of a lookbook, I would say.
I'll add you to the Discord. We'll talk. I would never be able to be like, I'm sorry, you have violated a tenet of of our sacred religion. The people. That's us.
That's the name.
The people. Yeah, you violated a tenet of the people. You're gone.
Wait a minute. No.
There's an eschatology. We've got. I couldn't do it. I could not hear God.
Trauma in the conflict server. Suddenly, anybody who's excommunicated from this religion is your god. That's you in the froggy chair. They push you in the froggy chair, and they put the cover over your head. And then you're gone, you're gone, you're gone. Because you didn't agree that frogs were chill, and you didn't say what's up.
You're done, dude. Your forehead callus isn't even firm enough, dude.
That's a soft head you got there. Step in the froggy chair for me.
I can easily see my thumbprint when I put it on your forehead. You're done. This isn't sticky at all.
ID? You're dry, bro.
You're good in the froggy chair.
Get in the froggy chair. You're looking dry. Dusty ass cat.
Oh my god. I joined Hashem and the people are gonna battle for my eternal soul.
That sounds great.
Jewish people have an eternal soul? Cut this out. I don't remember enough about my own religion.
Sure, sounds good.
You could include it.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What's been going on in your notebook recently?
Cell's notebook. All right, it's been a few weeks. You have a lot of content.
I'm really excited. Oh my god.
I want to preface this by saying, like, what you saw before, again, this is a notebook that I pretend to take notes on when I'm, like, on Zoom calls at work. I have never had a harder time at work than the past few weeks.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Yeah. Which is only to your benefit, because this is hilarious.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Okay.
I'm just gonna say, flip to a random page between this and there is so much.
Oh my god. Okay, we can't be going this line of a great.
Yeah.
Okay, this page. King shit king, big letters. Fuck, shit, bad getting increasingly smaller, which is really good, but also a huge bad on the other side.
Bad descending a staircase.
That's iconic. Okay, moving on from that page. Big money in all caps. That one comes back
That's
a lot.
such a theme for me. I don't know why.
Okay, a bulleted list. Here are the entries. Google. Wait. Okay, we have a box that is surrounded on all sides by the word sin.
Well, you've heard of the free cube.
Introducing the sin square. These are all actual meeting notes.
Yeah, those peter off very
quickly. It's not actually meeting notes. I fucking hate this ... Kill a cam ... All caps, huge, almost the entire page. Stop rhyming, you freak. Sex warp, please, gug, gug, please, ... please end this. Push into a bag. Dogs ... what the shit, all caps.
They were
Moving
rhyming
along.
throughout the meeting. It's really...
You drew an enormous theater, and on top of it, in a big rainbow, wrote, "Theater falls apart."
Yeah, I thought that'd be quite
Oh my god, okay. Love it. But love it is written in such a way that you can tell that you do not love it. It is like engraved into the fucking page, underlined. God.
Call that design, baby. Uh-oh.
I'm disagreeing. I'm in disagreement. Just in the middle of the page. Frankly, I'm miserable. Fuck off. Kill everyone. Making over $100,000. I will cry. Oh my god. I fucking love your notebook so.
Thanks, baby.
A huge kill me. This page just says tank tops, jeans, kill me.
Well, I got both, so I didn't die.
Okay, a drawing of this page is full of illustrations and I couldn't be happier. Kirby is inside of a triangle, and in the triangle with Kirby it says kill tank. I'm assuming that Kirby's been.
No, he's a tank.
Oh, Kirby's a tank.
Yeah.
That's spectacular. Body failure, total shutdown, break face like bottle cap. A box says guns for popes. On top of it, a face that looks like the fucking drawing from all the World War II shit says pig. Cum freak.
Yeah.
Scream beef. I need help. Freaks! All of you are beasts.
I was so upset. Sometimes, you're like, they're just talking about stuff, and you're like, how are you human beings?
Yeah. That's very,
it's
very
vicious.
real. I love how deeply integrated this content is into your actual work notes. They flow freely back and forth.
Because, like, sometimes I actually, like, have to look and get, like, I take a note that matters, and then the rest of the time is me seething, and so I just keep scribbling. You'll know the last page when you see it.
I'm sure I will.
I can see that.
Kind of floating in isolation on the page. Fricker. I think that one's really good. Come underline, goblin skin, gorgeous bags. A lot of work notes. This is definitely the last page. Because it is completely full of content. Gerp. Shut up in the entire top right corner. Bunch of work notes. So many shut ups on this page. It is entirely shut ups. Fuck, dude. Obviously stupid. In a box. Ink suck. Oh my fucking god.
It was a 2-hour meeting.
Yeah, well, you clearly made it count. That's spectacular.
Thank you.
This is like, if you were XXXTentacion and you were dropping an album, this is the album cover.
I think that, like, if anything, it's a purgative experience for me, because I wouldn't call myself maladjusted. I think I'm going through stuff.
You are.
But I think it's a way of expressing my worst, basest thoughts. I mean, it's like a total animal brain. When I said all of you are beasts, I saw the beast within myself, that I could participate in this work experience, and like you just write it all down. You just let it all out.
And I think that also like you are going through like an intense time, but also you're just like a sensitive person.
Extremely.
And so like you're giving yourself an outlet.
It's cathartic.
It's very healthy.
Yeah.
But also it's extremely silly.
I think it's really, I mean, so I've just turned into like a free write. I've really turned my brain off.
That's great. Well, it's amazing.
Thank you.
That was Sal's Notebook.
Thank you so much for reading.
I always love to do it.
I have a related question to our previous conversation.
Sounds great.
So I've been kind of chasing some E-envy characteristics. Being an E-boy is something you've like been honing and developing for some time. So I just figured I would ask you, what are the essentials for someone who's looking to become the internet baddie of their dreams?
Billie Eilish said everybody's goth now. I think I've said that on the show before, but she was so fucking right. The whole like internet aesthetic that I kind of am interested in, I think that there's like, you have like your Visco girls who are much more like earthy, crunchy. There's like...
I see Visco girls as like Brandy Melville mall chic more than crunchy. Because I have a follow-up question that contrasts this with cottagecore, which is something that is my instinct. Which are two contrasting aesthetics that I've decided to chase fully, I mean, for both sides of it. So,
yeah, it is a little bit closer to cottagecore than like an internet aesthetic. But I think that the internet aesthetic is very grounded in like sort of like hot topic-y, gothy by way of like 90s Dennis Rodman type aesthetic.
That's sick. That's sick.
It's very sick. If you're looking to... The first thing I recommend you do probably is skincare. Honestly, that's like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Like everybody in all these Instagrams is always like showing off like the density of their pores and like
shimmering.
Just absolutely shimmering.
Just acres of oily skin.
Yeah, I think that's essential. Err on the side of wearing all black, or at least like clothing that is like ostentatious. Like a hugely graphic tee, pants that billow out like crazy.
Right.
Like something that is like making like a significant statement, and then just like go fucking ham with like jewelry.
Accessorizing seems to be a big one.
Little tiny sunglasses.
We should get little tiny sunglasses and do the show in them.
I love that idea.
Be a good one, right?
Yeah. Little tiny sunglasses, silver and transparent shit. Extremely. Yeah. And then never smile. Smiling is not part of the look.
No?
No. You can smile on the inside, but it's not part of the look.
Shit.
Yeah.
Why do you think like those particular aesthetic forms of self-expression have like reigned within this like unique sub-niche of like this hyper-connected internet ludicrous weirdness? I don't know how else to describe it.
I think that it's definitely dark. Everybody feels like shit.
Right. There's a lot of like I'm a kid and life is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Right.
It's usually someone putting that on and expressing that out, but it's also like very teenage heartthrobby.
Yeah. With the parted hair.
Yeah.
And the dangly Christ earring is like so that. Very heartthrob.
There's a little bit of like 90s Leonardo DiCaprio in there, a little bit of NSYNC in there, but it's all kind of like filtered through this lens of like pastiche and also through collective misery.
Right.
So you get only the darkest aesthetics,
right.
the most intense ones. Little like the dangly cross earring is like religious.
Yeah.
But also like
ironically
you could,
so.
Yeah, but you could easily replace that with like a dangling dagger.
Well, that's a bit. I like the dangling dagger a lot. Well, I think that like there's like been a kind of a link between Christian imagery and goth imagery for a long time, just because of its like connotations with funerals and death and stuff. It kind of makes sense to me. But I think it's interesting because it's uniquely like hyper fried. It's like the 100 Gex version of like the 80s new wave goth with the teased up hair. Mm-hmm. I'm an acolyte. I've been pursuing it by, as you say, I've been trying to get some more accessories going, some more black clothing, some black tank tops. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, the siren song of the cottagecore calls to me. I'm just going to evoke that for you. So if e-boy style, internet style is Hot Topic that is also wrapped in a Willy Wonka wrapper, then cottagecore is bandanas in the sunlight, fine porcelain tableware that you're making like lemon tarts and drinking tea in, and you have a bird in an ornate golden cage, and you're like reading an early feminist novelist,
Jane Austen,
not even Virginia Woolf,
The Awakening.
You're reading that, and your beautiful lover is dressed in all linen and off-white cottons, and you tend to your little garden, and you have the dried lavender everywhere. Mm-hmm. Both of these, of the sticky, sweaty, angry ENB aesthetic and the delightful breeze, mirrors in the garden of the cottagecore, equally compel. If you go on TikTok and are a queer person and spend any amount of time on it, the algorithm will sort you into either one or both of these categories. And I get both, and also some skateboarding content. But that's what they've chosen for me. So I wonder why these two have reared their head. Both are kind of nostalgic.
This is obviously a dramatic oversimplification of a complex, milieu.
Well,
but I think that we're in weird bad times, and there are two ways to respond. One is by looking backward to find like comfort and safety in like the most like tangible tactile things, like aesthetics that would fit right at home in the mid to late 1800s, that also like evoke a kind of care and tenderness, but also a thoughtfulness, right? You're drawing a lavender and you're reading a book and you're tending to a garden. And it's very comforting and safe.
The person that they tend to point to as an inspiration for cottagecore is Jenny, the teacher from Matilda. She like literally lives in the cute cottage and just drinks tea with like the rescued girl. Like that's the whole thing.
Based on what I remember about Matilda's somebody who's similarly born into a shitty, horrible time with like an authoritarian, dystopian school environment and parents that don't actually love her, and her world is falling apart. And this person represents the ultimate comfort and safety.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Did Matilda invent modern culture and sensibility?
Because there's no infrastructure to support her. Because all the infrastructure is misery. So then this one person is like the avenue out. Right. That's one way out. The other way out is to just like become part of the machine for crushing by like queering it and making it like cool fashion and wearing like a big angry choker.
Pretty sick.
Both are fucking sick.
Both, but don't. And if I may, don't both imply a sort of surrender? I don't know what this would look like fashion wise. Politically, sure, you can look at these oppressive symptoms and say like, fuck no, forward, a better future. But fashion wise, like, you're looking at both of those things and saying, like, there's nothing I can do about it. So I better, like, retreat to an idyllic or, like, early modern version of this, like, society before, like, the, automation and the whatever fucking industrial shit ruined it. Or it's, like, visually claiming the aesthetic, but even though you do something else.
I don't think that it is a retreat necessarily. I think that in the daily act of responding to these conditions, even if you are politically aware that you can create an alternative through some means and you have a plan to do that, there still is the requirement of, at least for now, living through that experience.
Right.
So whether you're choosing to embody that alternative and like clutching on to the softness that you can create for yourself and becoming the cottage person of your dreams, or clutching on to the imposing cruelty and harshness, both of those are a response, not a retreat. Yeah.
Thanks for joining me on a very fun conversation about that. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So, I was thinking that it would probably be good for our audience and also maybe me if we had like a magic way to become enormously brave instantly.
A magical way to become
maybe not a magical way, but like some kind of kind of like a mnemonic of some kind, or some sort of personal ritual, or some kind of incantation, or some kind of talisman to touch, or just some way that I can become enormously brave instantly.
Because sometimes you need to access bravery
instantly.
Yeah.
What are the irreducible elements of bravery?
The first thing I think you need to be brave is to be scared.
That's all. I think about that often.
Yeah.
Being brave isn't just being aggressive.
Yeah.
Being brave is knowing that you're scared and doing something anyway.
You have to be having a hard time.
Right.
I think a lot of people envision bravery as like, fucking, I'm cruising through this.
Being
it's
invulnerable.
Like, yeah. No, it's being aware of your own vulnerability and still continuing on anyway.
Showing yourself compassion.
Yeah.
Saying, like, this is hard for me. Us, if you're talking to the royal you.
I think another way to become extremely brave instantly is to become aware of and cultivate softness. I think that one way to cope with incredibly challenging situations is to close yourself completely, to lock everything down so it can't be hurt. And that might be useful strategically at some points. I don't know if it's healthy, and I don't think it's necessarily brave.
What, being repressed or being soft?
Being repressed.
Oh, being repressed is awful. Well, this is something that we've been bringing up at therapy often. It's your attempts to keep yourself safe that often end up hurting you the most.
Right, yeah. I think that choosing intentionally to stay soft, knowing that it opens you up to vulnerabilities, knowing that it may hurt you, and still choosing it anyway is incredibly brave. So I think that you have to be scared, you have to be soft.
So those are like the base level, like your day-to-day intentions that you're setting. We should end this conversation by doing is having a way to instantly become brave, but that implies a lifestyle change of like how you're thinking about yourself and the world around you and the way that you relate to other people, and accepting that like every day you are waking up and saying like, okay, I'm going to make this effort to acknowledge my vulnerabilities, to acknowledge my insecurities, things that scare me, the things that are keeping me from being who I actually want to be. And that's like your first step. I mean, I have to do that every day. Yeah. It's interesting. Okay.
So in terms of becoming instantly brave.
But you've set this foundation, and I think that we can't stress enough that is critical. That has to happen first.
Yeah. For me, what did it was not to say that I'm incredibly brave, but what helped me become brave instantly was overwhelmed hyperlink 2020. So last night I smoked weed with my other roommate, your other roommate, our other roommate.
Can we say their name at the same time?
1, 2, 3. Willow. We smoked weed on the porch. And smoking weed is something that I don't do very often because it does have it's like a dice roll to see how anxious it makes me.
Exactly.
So last night I was feeling great, and then all of a sudden it was like the low synth rumble of anxiety. The THC like came in like crazy, and I was like, oh fuck. And I had stated previously, I was like, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like smoke a little bit of weed, grab my guitar, sit on the porch, and play guitar. That is a perilously normal thing to do in these trying times, is to sit on your porch and play a quiet instrument. That is perfectly fine. I was like in my room, like totally terrified of doing that, because I was like,
it's irrational.
Yeah, it is rational. But then I just reminded myself that it was overwhelmed hyperlink 2020, and that when I'm faced with the feeling that I'm scared of doing something, I just do it anyway.
So it sounds to me that is your passphrase for instantaneous bravery.
Yeah, so what I often think of, I might have mentioned this in the show before, but I was watching an interview with Harry Styles, and Harry Styles said, the minute that you feel that your feet are no longer touching the ground and the water is up to your neck and you can't really swim and you're just like barely there and like you're so scared of getting overwhelmed, that is the moment you are about to do something interesting. And you should hold on to that feeling and pursue that feeling. And if you're not getting fucked up, you're probably not doing something interesting. I don't know about that as a lifestyle for everybody. For me, it has been very useful as a tool to combat my own anxiety, to remember that the lifestyle that I'm cultivating for myself is one where my feet are not touching the ground.
But you were cultivating anxiety.
Possible. Well, I mean, just like I'm cultivating, when I feel anxiety, I just do it anyway. So I went out on the porch to play guitar.
I see what you mean.
It was anxious the whole time, but I had a great time.
But you had to reflect on that pivot word.
Yeah, I had to remind myself that when I feel that way, what I do is go anyway.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. That's a big step.
Yeah.
I think it's super useful. Yeah. So I think then in that case, yeah. So in order to become enormously brave instantly, it's to have the enormous bravery to be yourself completely, feel it all, and acknowledge your sensitivities every day, constantly. And the second piece is to have some glittering piece of knowledge, some scintillating poem, some gorgeous little snippet, some fucking quote by an architect that flips the switch in your brain that tells you to do it anyway. Yeah, that reminds you when you're feeling overwhelmed by those feelings, who you really are. It's your power. It's your power switch. Yeah. It's an incantation. We'll call it that. Yeah. It's an internal magic. It is an internal magic. Pretty cool.
Very cool.
Thank you for walking me through that.
Hell yeah.
This is actually a question from our friend Laser at Skull Sight. Thesis, haha, yeah. Antithesis, lol, no. Synthesis. Let's get Hegelian with it.
Synthesis of haha yeah and lol no? Sure.
Okay, yeah. Fine, period.
I guess.
Huh. That'd be a good name for a show.
Wait, it's, I guess so.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's all those. It's all those in a straight line.
This is what Hegel's all about.
This question actually comes from Snout.online user Jules. What's the flavor of your soul?
If you know that question, you've already died. There's an ant in here.
You've already died.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, look, I feel like that's the kind of, like, people love to fucking talk about forbidden knowledge, and to me that's almost hilarious, because all knowledge is unknowable in the first place. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, like, the point where you're like, I can tell you, like, the exact warp and weft and thickness and lightness and taste of the soul, I feel like in order to know that, you'd be something so beyond human that, like, you wouldn't even have a conception of taste anyway. You'd have post-taste. You know what I mean?
Real, yeah.
And I think that, like, to paint a soul as having flavor in broad strokes is reductive of what a soul can be. Because a soul is like a total sensory experience of all time. What does that mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that we can still aspire to know the taste of our souls. No,
we can assign taste to our soul, but that's not the actual taste of your soul. You're trying to create soul flavor harmony. You're trying to ratatouille cram ingredients in your heart and trying to create beautiful visual representations of harmony. But flavor wise,
exact ratatouille scene you're talking about.
And their magical scene is probably the best scene in the movie. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, I think that we all have our little rats inside of us, just as the mech animes of our youth used to tell us. Is Ratatouille a mech anime?
Absolutely! Yes, absolutely it is! Yes, absolutely! There's no interpretation of Ratatouille that does not involve a mech reading.
Well, alright, I'm glad we got that. Does Remy knows the flavors, but Remy is the soul in that scenario. In that that metaphor painted on the side of a barn in fucking blue, it is clear that Remy is the all everlasting soul of a rat, and we all have rats for souls. But beyond that, like, what's it, Linguini? Linguini doesn't ever actually, like, he doesn't get it at the same level as Remy does.
Yeah.
But he's the tools by which Remy experiences the world at large. By the tools by which Remy gains acceptance in our social world as well as our physical world. Mm-hmm. I think it's undeniable, and I'm moving my hand in a side-to-side fashion, so you know I'm being very serious. To me, it's undeniable that, like, to commune with the flavor of my soul, it would require, like, intense meditation, sincere focus, a lot of time whipping it up in the kitchen, chefing, you know.
With the wrist motion.
Exactly, putting salami in bowls constantly, which is what cooking is. And walk into the kitchen and there's no floor, just bowls with salami slices, and I'm in the middle of it and I'm like clonking on all fours, like spilling little salami slices everywhere. I'm cooking, is what I would say to you. Mm-hmm. That would be an example of me getting close to a perception of what my soul tastes like. I'm doing something so outlandish and bizarre that it's not even having anything to do with flavor and taste. Mm-hmm. I'm projecting a certain flavor there. Yeah. You know, to be a bowl salami guy person, you're doing tastes. Mm. Tastes and spaces.
Taste in Spaces. Mm. You're watching Taste in Spaces. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, you know, you open on, like, the external shot, and it's the two of us in hideous suits with awful ties, like big pink ties, and we say, well, in sync.
Welcome to this.
Well, Taste in Spaces.
Welcome
and they just keep rolling. The camera.
We're live. We can't redo that.
Taste in Spaces is a live presentation. It's like the news. They've set up the broadcast van. We show up at people's houses, and we knock on their doors. And we say,
welcome
can taste your spaces. Well, I'm yelling. You're a host. I'm knocking on windows live.
Let me taste it. Got any salami in there?
We kick the door down.
We break it.
We don't take no for an answer. And we start arraying people's bowls on the fucking floor.
Needs more bowls on the floor.
That's our advice every time. We spend like 45 minutes, like, painstakingly going like, wow, the shape in this room and the way that the energy flows. Our suggestion, more bowls on the floor.
I've seen a space like this hundreds of times before, and every time my recommendation is the same. Open those windows, plop the bowls on the floor. You're going to be having yourself a...
Get some air in your bowls.
Get some air in your bowls. How else are you going to be able to taste the space, you dummy?
How many bowls on average do you think you have?
I have personally.
Yeah.
Only 3 to 4.
Personally,
and
see
what I mean?
That's why you're qualified to host Tastes and Spaces. I personally have over 24 bowls,
but they're very small.
I sleep on them like a bed.
Yeah,
you know, like a bed of nails, bed of bowls.
Yeah.
Not comfortable.
No, but it is
big circles on your back.
Yeah.
Not.
Listen. Everyone's talking about cupping these days. You invented that shit.
Yeah.
This has been haha yeah.
This has been haha yeah.
This has been haha yeah. Do you have time for one more question?
Yeah.
Now that all the beaches are closed, the ground begins to rumble softly, like a purring cat. The sands shake. The cattails tremor in the evening wind.
Whoa.
The rickety bridges stretching out to the dilapidated parking lots bend oddly, straining against the seismic shifts. And then, so quiet you could just hear it. All the sand drops. Whoa. The sand falls down into the massive gaping hole that was once the beach. The tides lap at the edge of this massive crevice, drops of salty water trickling down into nothing. We never hear the sand hit the bottom. Flashlights trail down its gaping mouth into nothing from nothing. The beaches are gone, replaced with an inky void. How should we respond?
Beaches are a waste of time. Beaches have never done anything for you. Here's what I would suggest we all do. We all take our cars and dangle them very perilously off the edge. We just drive just the front wheels and get out and just watch them all seesaw constantly on every inch of shoreline across the entire world.
And just hang out?
We get out of them, but we just watch them like when's it gonna fall in?
That would be okay.
I think that to be afraid of that is a false economy. You make the most of it.
I'm so right now completely transfixed by this idea of the ocean kind of just like rushing to touch the edge of this inky void, droplets of water streaming down into a bottomless black pit, where on the other side, every car in the fucking United States dangles ever so perilously.
Like one finger touch is enough to like send them falling forever into the inky void.
Every car just like waving
Tahoes
at the
fucking Chevy Tahoes and Toyota Tahoes, they're all there.
Yeah, well, a bunch of people just chill
and we're just watching
on the pavement,
completely just quiet, hands behind our backs.
Yeah,
because we know that if you can like push a little air, it might set off some sort of reaction.
Yeah, maybe some lanterns, maybe a small fire. Just watching all of the Toyota Tahoes.
I think we should be rearranging society around that and build massive, endless ecologies that stretch just on the edge. Like our job now as people is to tend to the teetering cars of our past. And so we live in massive city systems that look like a highway, but like built up all the way around it, extends up into the sky, and we all cram ourselves into that and let the rest of the United States rewild itself. And we all live in here in these controlled systems, and we just look, and we know that one day, if that first car topples, it'll be over for all of us.
This has been haha yeah.
This has been haha yeah.
I'm Hyperlink.
I'm Cell.
You better not touch those cars.
Keep it sweet at all times.
At all times.
I hope you're hanging out.
We will be watching in the comment section to see if you've been keeping it sweet.
I'm looking right now.
I'm looking right now. That person wasn't keeping it sweet.
Backspace.
This show is a proud member of the Mastodon Podcast Network.